Sadiq, and this is the Hot Seat Update, and we have a blockbuster that has just now dropped. It has dropped, and the dirty pool and politics has begun. Today, in the mail, if you are in District 1 and you got a mailer, today, paid for by Victoria Baca, 2016 Moreno Valley City Council, District 1, 112 5 Day Street, V212, Moreno Valley, California, 92557. Victoria Baca has dropped a hit piece on Ladonna Jempson, and people have been calling me and blowing up the phones and saying, well, Donna, what are you going to do about it? Blah, blah, blah. Now, it is not my job as an opponent of both of these people to defend anybody, okay? Because it's really nothing to defend. Miss Jempson has to get out of the helpless damsel in distress type situation and start fighting and showing some fight. I mean, she hasn't been fighting for us, but maybe she needs to fight for herself. But I'm going to say this as a candidate. I think this is bullcrap. This is the kind of politics we don't need, and this once again shows why Victoria Baca was kicked out and fired and recalled 2 years ago. Now, in this piece, if you've gone to the page and you've seen, and I'm sure some of you guys that are listening have heard about what's going on, if you got the mailer, it's just funny how, if you read the mailer, Miss Baca is saying Moreno Valley deserves better. Well, better definitely isn't her. She's convicted. She pled that obstruction of a police officer from a felony to a misdemeanor, but she's just as convicted as anybody she's listed on this flyer. So let's talk the real and talk about what she hasn't said. Okay? Why isn't Miss Baca talking about how Marcelo Coe is a member of her Democratic Club of Moreno Valley? Why isn't she talking about that? There are pictures of Chris Baca, her, Marcelo Coe, all buddy-buddy, and, they're all on the same page. And then the minute that he gets his hand caught in the cookie jar, she's talking him down. Now, what kind of person is that, and what kind of politician would you want that, kind of like Hillary, you say one thing in public, but in private you're saying something else? So yes, Marcelo Coe is sitting in jail right now. He was convicted of a crime. He sat on the city council and was best friends with Victoria Baca. But how, it's just apparent how she airs these dirty laundry, but she doesn't air hers. Now let's talk about Mike Rios. When they were on the school board, Victoria Baca and Chris Baca, and like I said, let's just talk facts. They were very supportive of Mike Rios. Mike Rios sat on the school board and he pimped high school girls in a prostitution ring. And he's sitting in prison right now. Now, he hung out with Victoria Baca. They were good friends. Why aren't you bringing that up, Miss Baca? The only thing that these people have in common is they were all convicted of various crimes. Now, yes, is Ladonna Jempson a bank robber? Yes, she is. Has she embezzled? Yes, she has. Has she been convicted of grand theft? I guess she has. But like her friends and her defenders will say, well, that happened 32 years ago. But, in a lot of people's minds, that still means something. It's a great story. But if you take Marcelo Coe and you take Ladonna Jempson, and you take Mike Rios, and you take Victoria Baca, you still have four people based on Victoria Baca's, what she's trying to initiate or what she's trying to insinuate. You still have four people that are criminals. They've been convicted of crimes. Now, if you take the other candidates, let's say myself, I've never been convicted of a crime of that magnitude. Have I got parking tickets? Probably. I just don't remember. Things like that. So based on all of this information, if I was a voter and I'm tired of all this BS, the only person to vote for is Donovan Sadiq. Because like Ladonna Jempson has said, he's the one that's been running the district for 2 years in shadow. He's the one that's been giving me ideas. So why not? If you're tired of all this bull crap, that's who I would vote for. But you also got to remember, Ladonna Jempson and Victoria Baca, they all started together. They all know each other. They're in the same circle of friends. So what have I've been saying for 2 years? 360 degrees of association. These are all the same people with a different face. Right now, Victoria and Ladonna, they're fighting each other because they both want access and power to that seat. I just think it's time for a change. There's no difference between Ladonna Jempson and Victoria Baca. Victoria Baca sat on the seat for 2 years, and she worked for the developer, and she did absolutely nothing. If you look at Ladonna Jempson's saying, she facilitated conversation between the Box Springs Water Company and the city. Victoria Baca did the exact same thing, except that it cost us $30,000. So facilitating and actually solving problems are two different things. And you, as a listener, have to ask yourself, do you want somebody that's just going to sit there and take nice photo ops and take pictures and do that? Because that's what you get in Victoria Baca and Ladonna Jempson. Or do you want somebody who is going to solve the problems? And ask yourself that. And there's going to be something coming up in the next couple of months that you're going to hear. If I win or lose, my name is going to come up in it once again. And you're going to wonder why I am involved and people are coming to me with these problems and I'm solving them. And these people are not. We're getting the same old. We're at a point, I believe, where we have to start solving problems. And if you listen to last week's city council meeting, they're talking about infrastructure for the trucks. And what have I been talking about for months? As somebody who knows logistics, to make the WLC work and all this warehouse madness, number one, that should have never been approved until you address the trucks first. You have to address the trucks first. Then you say, based on how many trucks that are going to be needed, then you say we're going to approve this amount of warehousing to support those kind of trucks. And that wasn't done in this city. We do everything backwards because it sounds good. Oh, jobs, it brought all these jobs. But then you bring the jobs and people don't want them because they're part-time jobs. And a lot of people now are, it's just funny how when Donovan says something, oh, it's stupid or that doesn't make any sense until it makes sense. But because I'm a new guy and everybody wants to discredit me, but it's just so funny how everybody takes my ideas after the fact when it comes to these candidate forums. When the election season first opened up, I said, let's do some candidate forums. Let's, get this out of the box and introduce people in the beginning. And then you have one in the middle and maybe toward the end, but nobody really goes to them toward the end because by then their minds are made up. But you introduce the electorate to the candidates in the beginning so people could put a name with a face and as you see these ugly signs out here and all this other stuff. But when I say stuff like that, oh, it's stupid. But yet everybody does it. And if you've been to the last candidate forum, which was at Crosswords Church, was really, really well done, notice that the format that was done was the format that I've introduced into the political realm for these candidate forums or debates or whatever you want to call them, because when you have a developer that has a PR firm that pays people to come in and take over your event, you're going to have the same questions and the same things. So the best way to do that is to control the crowd. You don't want people coming up there telling their life story, which takes away time from the candidates answering the questions. So the best way to control the crowd, but at the same time, have them participate is to write their questions down and get as many of those questions to the candidates as possible. And that now has become a trend because obviously I'm not the only one that saw that there's a problem here when every time you want to talk about something else other than warehousing, it gets dominated by Highland Fairview employees. So, real quick, a quick update. You're going to hear about this. This hit piece is out. It's called The Truth About Ladonna Jempson. And again, yes, everything that has been said here is true. However, we already know that. It's already been disclosed. Now, does Ms. Jempson have a lot to talk about? Does she still have a lot to explain? I think so because it's kind of confusing. But let's just go over it again. Ladonna Jempson has been convicted of multiple felony crimes. And the source is Jempson refused to quit after felony disclosed. Now, it is true that the only reason Ladonna came out was because the Bacas had this information and was going to out her. So, yes, she was going to continue to lie to the electorate and to the voters. As long as, she can hide it, she was going to get away with it. Now, that goes to her credibility and her integrity and all that other stuff. The problem with it, in my opinion, is she ran on transparency and honesty. So what she did wasn't transparent and it wasn't honest. So I agree with everything that's in this piece. But what I don't like is the fact that specifically Ms. Baca is putting this out because people are tired of this stuff. Jempson was a fugitive from the law for 9 years. I'm still confused on that story and her years here in Moreno Valley, whatever. And Miss Jempson is not going to explain that and whatever. She was asked to step down. She refused. Again, this is not about us, the voters. I think this is about the same reason why Victoria Baca wants the seat back. It's about power and access. And when you have power and access, somehow your bank account gets bigger. And when you're dealing with a person like me, I'm not into power and access, because if I was, I wouldn't live in Edgemont. I would go live on the east side of the city. Well, thank God I don't live on the east side of the city because they're building a big warehouse over there. But I would live somewhere else. But I'm not into that. So I'm not motivated by money. I'm not motivated. I'm very content, whatever my situation is. But this is the exact reason why Victoria Baca is trying to get this seat, because she is motivated by power and access. Jempson changed her name to hide her criminal history. Now, I don't know the truth about all that. Okay, I have to do some work on that, because women get married all the time and they change their names. Okay, now I'm assuming her real name is Ladonna, Dolores Ladonna. Now, she married Cleophas, which goes by Jackie. So her name being changed, to me, is what's the big deal there? I don't know what that's about, because as we're speaking about that, I changed my name. And I changed my name for the simple fact of what the name meant. And the name means truth, one who speaks in truth. When I was overseas, I was called Sadiq, and that's what they told me. And I said, wow, this is really cool. And I changed my name. But I didn't change my name till after my military career was over, because I don't want things to be like different and all kinds of confusion to hang over. But changing your name doesn't really mean anything, because in this country, your social security number is what identifies you in everything you do. So a name change doesn't mean anything. I mean, Prince, the recording artist, changed his name to a symbol, if you remember, in the 90s, and then he went back to being Prince. So a name change isn't a big deal. So, Miss Baca, what are you inferring here? Changing your name. Women get married all the time, hyphenate their name, change their name. It doesn't mean anything. A name change doesn't change the person. Okay? Now, she says in this June, Ladonna Jempson was forced to admit that she hid from the public the fact she is a convicted felon for embezzlement. For years, she has actively worked to hide her own criminal history and multiple felonies. That's true. But I believe Miss Jempson has said if you would have asked her if she's a bank robber, she would have told you yes, she was. But I don't know how that works. And we've already been over this. So in the flyer, she says, what a deceptive hypocrite. We don't need any more convicted felons serving on our city council. Well, if that's the case, Miss Baca, why are you running? By your own word, we don't need any more convicted felons serving on our city council. You were convicted of a misdemeanor. So what's the difference? Miss Jempson paid her dues. Do I think she should step down and run on her own merit? Yes, I do. But she didn't do that. That's her choice. Now it's going to be up to the voters to decide. So that's what it's going to come down to. But to arbitrarily hold somebody's past against them, yeah, it's a character issue that you want to talk about that. But if you're going to hold somebody based on their character issue, Miss Baca, let's look at your past. You took money from a developer. Your house was in foreclosure. You know, you were recently, you were about to go to court with me as a material witness to money laundering. And that's what it was going to lead into. And that was very recent. And if everybody that follows my page, you can go there and it's archived where I'm in downtown Riverside. You recently were admonished by the FPPC for your practices and how you do things. So let's not get caught with the pot calling the kettle black here. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me and if you're really tired of all this stuff, you really need to mark Donovan Sadiq on the ballot November 8th. Because the bottom line is we are having the same problems and the same thing. And these people are not solving our problems. They're bringing problems. And in the last 2 years, all I have been doing is solving problems. That's all I want to do. That's all I'm going to continue to do even after this election is over. We haven't seen Victoria Baca in 2 years. But yet, when she gave herself a plaque after you, the voter, fired her, and she wasn't supposed to be on that dais by law, I mean, she is continually breaking laws. What did she say? I'll be around. You'll see me. We haven't seen her in 2 years. And now she has the nerve to talk about another person's conviction. Now, it is not my job to defend Ladonna Jempson, and that ain't what I'm trying to do here. As a citizen and a voter myself, I'm just tired of this kind of politics that has been going on in our city for over 8 years. And if you're tired of this stuff too, please vote for me November 8th. Donovan Sadiq, I'm getting stuff done. I'm not in this for the money. I could care less. I'm in it for results. I know I work for you, and that's who you should vote for. But this kind of politics stuff, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And anybody that engages in this kind of politic doesn't deserve your vote. Because if they're willing to get down and dirty in the mud with stuff like this and they can't run on their own merits, then what kind of city do we have here? And this is the problem, because we keep dealing with these kind of people and voting them back in the office. Now, again, Ladonna Jempson is no angel, okay? When Victoria Baca was asked to step down, Ladonna Jempson was there asking her to step down. And now the situation was reversed and Ladonna doesn't want to step down. So you have two of the same exact people. So please, if you are sick and tired of this kind of politic, vote for Donovan Sadiq November 8th. I'm sick of it. It's just a shame. Yes, she's a criminal. Yes, all this has happened. It happened a long time ago, but to a lot of people, it does mean a lot. Now, I've already voted, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest. I did not vote for Victoria Baca. I did not vote for Ladonna Jempson. I voted for the person that I truly believed is going to get problems solved. And he's doing it, and he's continuing to do it, and people are copying a lot of his ideas. And that is Donovan Sadiq, myself. That's who I voted for. I'm going to be very honest about that, because if I didn't believe I was a good candidate, I wouldn't be running. I could be doing 101 other things, especially things like this radio show, because I love doing this. So again, I don't condone this behavior. These people should not be getting your vote, because if you want to watch General Hospital or All My Children, voting for these people, this is exactly what you're going to get. But this has been Donovan Sadiq. This has been the update. I'm sorry that it has to come to this, but that's the drama in Moreno Valley. And Victoria Baca and Ladonna Jempson, they're bringing it. Donovan Sadiq, vote for me November 8th.